What? Oh,
What is happening?
hello. Let me change that. This is so DIY. We are here.
Hey,
Oh, look at that. It's Comedy Island with Graham Elwood and James Monet.
kaboom.
Beautiful at the world famous stand up Honolulu Club. The first, well, not the first, but
Not the first.
not the first, but the currently only
Yeah.
full time stand up club. There's another club, Sharkies, that's been around for a long time, but it's been shut down because of COVID and might open back up.
But that was also a comedy show in a venue that, yeah. So it's like a hotel banquet ballroom or something.
Hello, everybody in the chat. Oh, backyard politics. Everyone's all right. The West Coast is up. I know it's a little late for the East Coast. We might have some people. We have some people in Europe and Australia that watch this show because it's late.
So I'm setting up my my Instagram, my IG stories to direct my people to, not my people as in my race, but my fans, followers. Yeah.
Yes, Tony DeMayo's here.
Tony.
And Backyard Politics. Hinky, what is up? This is our third episode. For those of you who are new, this is just James and I are both stand-up comics. We've known each other a long time. And now we've always just hung out and talked comedy
For hours.
for hours in parking lots.
Yeah.
And in Zippies.
Yeah. Or Denny's.
Whoops.
Yeah. So if you're looking for sponsors, we will podcast for sandwiches. Healthy choices, right? It has to be for big guy. I actually look bigger at the other episodes. I think I was more like backstage. Yeah. So I wasn't so big. Now, hey, Graham's people, look, not Graham's people as in his race, but fans.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you know that why it's Hippie and the Bear, because
we call ourselves Hippie and the Bear because so James. For those of you who don't know, those of you who are watching on my channel, James, we're both stand-up comics, but James Samoan, 6'7",
420 pounds.
420 pounds, big man. I'm 5'10", 170. You're sort of average.
Wow, 170. Whoa! Because in high school, I was over 200 pounds. So I was like, you're like sixth grade James Monet.
Yes, I'm the sixth grade version of James. This is what this show is. And so we always talk a lot. We talk comedy for hours, and then we usually talk sports because we both played football. He played all the way up to Division I, and we like talking sports. And we'll talk a little bit of politics, but a little bit, not a lot. James always reins me in because I'll start going on a political vigilante rant and be like, okay, Graham. And so this show, we were like, why don't we just take what we do in parking lots and at Denny's and Zippies? Why don't we just make this a podcast? This was your idea, which I think is a very good one. So
and help promote the only full-time stand-up comedy club in Hawaii.
Yeah, and there's a really cool comedy scene here on Oahu. And there's people doing good shows. There's Comedy U that's doing good shows. There's cool shows all over town.
Friends of Square Barrels.
Yep, Square Barrels does good shows, and so there's a cool little comedy scene. This club opened in May, and Pepper Lamb. So we've been like really trying to support it as best we can.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "You guys want to do a podcast here?" We were like, "Okay,
sure,
let's do it."
And the cool thing is, there's air conditioning. First of all. Number two, he has equipment, like it was here for us. We just got to put it together, but it's here. This is the second week in a row, because the first week we kind of just came in and started, but the second week in a row where the equipment is here and it's nicely placed, and we just got to plug in and play.
And our long-term goal with this is, if we build up enough of a following here in this location, we will do this live, because you can't see it, but on the other side of that camera is all the seats for the comedy club.
Mm-hmm.
So our ultimate goal is to do this show live every week in front of the audience.
Yeah. And then it'll be like a talk show, variety show type of thing. So as this podcast evolves, we'll see how it turns out.
And so one of the things we always talk about is usually we kind of, that's, I guess, our sort of check-in, where we want to talk about stand-up, specials or stuff that we've watched recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched Dave Chappelle's that speech in his acceptance of the Duke Ellington High School. So that's where he went to school in DC, which is a performing arts school.
Yep.
And he gave a speech because they wanted to name a theater after him. And he really addressed the reaction or controversy of his last special, The Closer, where he made the jokes about transgender people. And you know, the thing that I give Chappelle a lot of credit for is this speech was really like, hey man, I'm an artist and I should be allowed to express myself.
Right.
And he was like, and when he spoke at the school, the kids lined up and wanted to ask him a question. He goes, if you don't like my joke, that's fine. But he goes, an artist should be allowed to express himself. And I think it was really about freedom, not just freedom of speech, but freedom to express yourself artistically. It's like, these are good jokes. And I really like, it resonated a lot with me as somebody who, obviously I do a lot of political stuff. I'm shooting a special October 26th in Chicago. Tickets available at grahamo.com. Zanies.
Get them now.
Be there. And talking about politics and social issues. And the cancel culture, like canceling people, I think that are like Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly. Yes, those people are being awful and abusive. The cancel thing can get out of control when it's like a comedian just has jokes that we don't like. Chappelle isn't hurting anybody. He's not abusing anybody. He's not committing any crimes. You can say his jokes are hurtful. You can say they're damaging to the community, and you can make that complaint, that argument. But to want to shut him down, and take away his right to say that stuff when he hasn't physically hurt anybody. That's. So I was glad you said that. Thematically, as a comedian, and I don't know Chappelle, I got respect for him as a comedian. I don't know him personally. Thematically, when I saw that he was talking about that, I was like, oh man, like there's all this stuff going on in the world, you know. And this is what I talk about political vigilante. But I mean, like, you know, we're on the brink of World War III with Russia. There's, you know, America's in the early stages of a civil war. We're facing climate collapse. There's people. Homelessness is at an all-time high in America, all throughout the whole, not just, you know, the mainland and here. You know, people are having a real tough time financially. There's the biggest disparity of wealth that we've ever had. And so I'm always like, why you got to make jokes about transgender or whatever when you really should be making fun of the powerful? You should be making fun of people like Elon Musk and stuff like that. So that's what you do. That's what I do. That's what I do. And that's what I really try to do, because it's something that George Carlin would always say. He would always say, punch up. Right. You know, Carlin, and I remember in like the 80s when Dice Clay got really popular. And Dice Clay had some jokes where he's, you know, making fun of people with disabilities or whatever. And I remember seeing an interview with Carlin. He's like, why are you making fun of that guy or the homeless guy? He goes, make fun of the people in power. And that's my only complaint with Chappelle. He should be allowed to say whatever he wants. And I'm a comedian. If it's funny, it's funny. Like, I mean, like I watch jokes all the time, especially on this island where everyone's making fun of white people because we're the minority here. And that's fine. It is fine. It is fine. It is very fine, Grant. But that's a good thing about what we do as far as stand-up comedy goes, is that we can make jokes about, or we should be able to make jokes about anything, within reason, I guess. But I think it's like what I'm hearing from you is it's more of like a professional should challenge themselves to, you know, poking fun at the 1% or the people that are in, you know, the boss, basically, or the man, if I can say that. But making fun of, you know, people being, you know, because obviously he's you know, he's up there, he's successful, he's rich, he's famous, and to make fun of I guess
a group of people who, for no reason is, I don't know. It's tough for me. I personally don't make fun of that community or many um lifestyles. It's always been self-deprecating or talk about my group of people, which is Polynesian, Samoan, or living in Hawaii, or even a large person. So that's the way I was taught to do comedy, and I think it's kind of playing it safe, whereas making making fun of the LG, I apologize for getting the LBGTQ plus community, is probably like the new edgy comic, because it's very challenging.
It's my complaint with comedy. And again, I do this on my show. I like the nuance of a conversation. This thing we've gotten into America. You're either for it or against it. I'm either for Rogan or I'm against Rogan. Like there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with about Joe Rogan, but there's a lot of stuff I do agree with. And also when people talk about freedom of speech, too often in America, people overreact and lump people into categories. So like when there was the big outcry about what Chappelle said, I was like, well, he should be allowed to say it. You have the right to say, I don't want to follow this guy. I'm going to unsubscribe to Netflix. You have the right to do that. But to like, we're going to cancel, so he's not allowed to speak anymore. That I don't agree with. Comedically, like I said, I don't think I've never made fun of those groups or people that are different than me or I mean, I've always been silly. I always made fun of myself. If I poked fun at a group, it was like a town, or like I made fun of Chicago where I was from, or like, just people in that town. But it was always like silly poking fun at. I never was like a group that's been marginalized. I think that's the issue. A group that gets marginalized, like the LGBTQ plus community, a group that's been targeted and harassed.
Right.
And that's where there's a legitimate complaint of like, look, man, there's hate crimes happening.
Yes.
And there's hate crimes happening to that community. And look, hey, man, Chappelle and others could make the argument, well, I'm a black man. I mean, the cops aren't shooting unarmed gay people.
Right.
They are targeting, gays have been targeted and transgender people do get targeted, but it ain't to the extent that black people are. So you could make that thing. My whole thing, and this is a complaint I've had with the comedy community for a while, is like, I remember like, I don't know, 10 years ago, everybody had their funny rape joke. And I was like, oh God, come on. Like, again, there's nobody in power that deserves to be made fun of. You have no jokes about anybody who's abusing their power. And so, and again, that like, oh, I'm edgy. Are you? I don't think that's edgy. I think you're just being, what's the term I want? You're just being like contrarian, or I just want to stir up trouble. Like, and I think that's part of the social media thing is like, if I start a controversy, any controversy is good, because then I'll just get a bunch of likes and follows, and sure, I'll get people hating me, but my social media numbers will go up. And I've seen some comics do that, just deliberately like pick fights online or whatever. Right. And it's like, that's the problem I have. I think there's so many people that deserve to be made fun of. Like R. Kelly, you deserve do make fun of him.
Well, here's a spin on and don't take it too serious now. Here's a spin. So basically what you're saying is make fun of the 1%ers.
Yeah.
Now, you can't get no more minority than 1% unless you go 0.5%. So you're picking on a very specific small group that can't defend themselves, Graham. So because one,
yes, those lowly billionaires.
Yeah.
All they can do is buy politicians and the media and the courts. That's it.
They don't write jokes. They're not creative. I mean, look at how Bezos's rocket looked. Like he couldn't even make it like 6-year-old kids playing with Legos could have made a better looking rocket ship. Yes. It would have had wings. It would have had something more. But it's like, man, I mean, So you're really picking
I
on
am going
a
after
small
myself.
group of
I
people.
really am picking on a minority.
Shame on you, Graham Elwood.
This is why comics are great. Because I'm making all these political points, and James just thinks of, "Oh, this will be funny." Like this is why hanging out with comics is so great. Because even if one guy will be talking serious, and the other guy will go, "Oh, I got a joke right here," and we'll just throw a joke in there.
It's just like when we're hanging out here after the shows, and then you get like comics that weren't on the show, but
Right.
they're hanging out. So that's why we say like for Stand Up Honolulu Comedy Club, it's more like a club. Yeah. Clubhouse. Thank you.
For us.
Yeah. And we know the bartender and he hooks us up. I mean, I get Sprite, if anything. But we hang out and
Wait,
it's
hold on. Someone's saying Graham is so hard to hear. Oh man, I'm sorry.
maybe you gotta eat the mic.
Hold on. Does this make it better if I get really close to the mic? I think Backyard is trying to talk to me. Mic check. It's low volume. Yeah. How about this now? Backyard. Is this, if I'm this close, doesn't really help it. Interesting. Oh, maybe it's
The wrong side.
How about that? Is that better? Does that somehow make it better? How about that? That was it.
It is working now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, is there a way to? All right. So the logo needs to be away.
Well, I got the logo facing me. How about me? Do I sound all right?
No, it's the same.
Okay.
Wait. So which is it, Nick? Backyard. What is it? Is this? Does this make a difference or no? But it could be turned up a little bit. Here, Nikki, text me directly and tell me. James sounds good. Man, we had this long, deep philosophical conversation about comedy and nobody. All right, let me. No difference.
Try to have the logo face you, and then you got to talk right into the rectangle.
How about that right there?
Because you're up top. Try to get lower on it.
Yeah.
Or maybe lift it up more.
How's that? Really low, like the mic is off. Man, we have such a basic setup here. That didn't change it at all.
Try to talk at the top, maybe like this.
No, like switch
Hey.
mics on or off. Right?
No.
I've never used this.
Maybe it's the you got to unplug and plug back in.
This is the device.
Mic volume is down there. Then I'll come back.
How about this right now? Is this making better? We just pumped up the volume. That I feel like that's gonna be better. Much. Graham sounds. So when I'm talking right now, is it better or worse or the same? A little better, but not much. Huh. And when James talks,
Microphone check. I probably sound like really loud now. Well, I think last week you had that plugged in on that side. So maybe, because I think the first week I was sounding low.
James sounds good. Okay.
And maybe bring the volume down a little bit because now it might be too loud. All right. Elvis, you want to do the test?
How does this make it better, ladies and gentlemen? Is this so much better? Just yell, Graham. I might have. All right, I'll just project. Does this make it better?
It should.
It should. It feels like it should.
Yeah.
I still think we might have to just this right now. We're going. These mics are both USB. It's the same. How did we not have this problem last time?
Maybe unplug this and then plug it back in. Sometimes it could be a dirty USB.
Slutty.
Well, I don't know what you do with your USBs, buddy, but yeah, that could be it. PC assigning one mic device and not two.
Yeah, that's what's happening because we're both plugging these both into USB, and StreamYard is only recognizing one of them.
So we do like harmonizing.
I don't know.
Whoa!
Did that fix it at all?
For the longest time.
Yeah, that's what I think. Mr. Wonderful is correct. The PC is only picking up StreamYard. We're running this through StreamYard, so StreamYard is only recognizing one microphone.
Because episode 1, it was my, so it might be that microphone, maybe.
It's not working.
Yeah. Boys to Men.
Boys and men. All right, what if we do this? What if we put the mic in the middle? Right like that, and we both talk to it that way. Does that hear you talk?
Hey, can you guys hear me out there?
Or this, does it go that way?
Ah, interesting.
How about that? Is that better?
It'll probably pick up the ambient sound, I guess.
Perfect. Oh, that was it. All right, we got it. All right, cool.
Sweet. Okay.
Sweet. Thank you guys for helping us.
Appreciate it. So now we just we speak up like we do when we're at Denny's. We're like, hey, remember that girl that was serving drinks the other day? Man, she was carrying some cans with her, and I was like, I wanted my drinks in a glass.
So, well, we're not going to recap the whole Chappelle thing, but I think,
Yeah.
I mean,
You get the point.
the point is, a comic should be able to make a joke without being completely shut down, and people have the right to say, I don't like it, I don't think it's funny.
Right.
As a comedian, I wish they would go after the powerful people.
Your personal.
That's my personal
opinion.
That's my personal opinion
Yeah.
as a comedian, because it's something Carlin said. It's like, why go after a group that's marginalized?
Right.
But anyway, so that's that. That's the comedy special that I went. We both watched that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. Plot twist at the end, where I was surprised, and I think that was cool. That are we allowed to give out? Should we do a spoiler?
Well, we won't do spoilers, but I think as long as he sits close to the mic. All right, I'll try to sit close to the mic. I think yeah, and watch it on Netflix. It's cool. Watch The Closer if you haven't watched it. Make your own decisions, and then watch his Duke Ellington acceptance speech, whatever. It's about 30 some minutes, 35, 40 minutes.
It's more of a speech than
It's a
a
speech.
comedy
It's
show.
not comedy. He's
Yeah.
not trying to be funny. He's making very salient points, and it's a really cool. It's a cool thing to see about comedy and freedom of speech and artistic expression. So it's important. I think it's important to watch. If you're a fan of comedy, it's important to watch. If you're a political vigilante fan, it's important to watch. And just I think a democracy functions best when we can have a reasonable debate or discussion or debate on subjects. Not yelling at each other, not I hate you, not just you say something I don't agree with, I'm out of here, but just like, okay, listening, that's important. And that's really been lost in America right now. So we should try to do that. And so like, it's a thing I've always, like when people want to censor like Alex Jones, I'm always like, no, I don't watch him. I don't need the government or a tech company to tell me I can't watch him. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
Like I shut it off myself.
Yeah.
Or
get it shut down with complaints and
right.
be like.
Now, when Alex Jones, and then we'll move on here, but this is talk about freedom of speech to make this clarification. What's protected speech and what isn't? Alex Jones has every right under the First Amendment to say there's alien lizard people leaving here. The government's all run by crazy people and demon worshipers or whatever, or pedophiles. He has the right to say that. What he does not have protected speech, and he went to court for this, is when he said, harass those parents.
Sandy Hook?
It's Sandy Hook. He said he has the right to say they're lying.
Right.
And it's all fake. But he does not have the right to say, go harass this person. That's not and people don't understand. They just say freedom of speech and they don't know what it means. It means like, I can say, I don't like this government. I want to burn it down. But if I say, I want to go
attack the Capitol,
then no.
Yes.
It's the same thing. I mean, I had a cop explain this to me. Like, I can say, I hope you die. But if I say, I'm going to kill you, I've just threatened you now. And that's protected.
You guys heard that, right?
I just threatened him. No, I didn't.
Did you hear it? I mean, is it that mic or this mic?
The mics went bad. I just said, I don't want to see you die on stage. That's what I said.
There's a lot of pressure on you if I die this weekend. I mean,
oh my God.
If I die in the next couple of days, Graham, you're gonna hate yourself.
I'm so sorry.
Or you're gonna be like, I have superpowers.
I probably will get drunk with power.
Yeah.
I'll probably be like, I have so much power.
I am the political vigilante. I hope so many things from this day forward will happen, and we will be free country finally. Because imagine if you had superpowers. Political vigilante was actual. So with Comic-Con going on and all these trailers coming out, all these new Marvel projects and whatever's, political vigilante has to be a superhero that we talk about in this podcast.
Yes.
Like, you can't talk about a political vigilante, but in this, rinky-dink show we got running here, 2 mics and 1 works, and
2 guys and 1 mic.
Whoa, hey. So we gotta draw it up, and it's gotta be a political vigilante that sees. But is it like political as in the government, or it's like the coach that only lets his son pitch?
Yeah, it's just any youth sports political.
There's some politics going on over here.
Oh, man.
And it's no, your son is on the bench. Timmy, your turn. Oh, he lost the game. Oh, shucks.
Your son's not good enough to always start.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Your son's gonna sit
These politics need to stop. Who are you? Political vigilante.
Yeah.
And it starts the music comes in, and it's like what do you call that? And you need now call JG Whitworth. Yeah. It's like that kind of music. Call PV vigilante. Cash now.
Cash advance on a structured settlement. Political vigilante can help.
Call now.
Somebody's dad is making their kid play too much when your kid is better. Call the political vigilante now.
Boom. Because on this show, that's what the political vigilante would be.
I would.
Before we continue, I want to give a shout out. I say shout out, but it's sad that we lost Paul Sorvino today.
Yes.
And 2 weeks ago, my daughter's older now. She's 18 now, so you can watch, movies, actual movies. I'm actually telling her, I was like, oh, you got to see this. You don't have to see it with me. Maybe it's so uncomfortable because, there's a lot of swearing or there's a sex scene or whatever. But I recommend this movie. So 2 weeks ago, I was like, hey, come watch this movie. This is a lot, because I've shown her Goodfellas when she was like 8. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Goodfellas. What's the
I was about to say, you showed your daughter Goodfellas when she was 8? The movie starts with them stabbing a guy in a trunk. Like,
she said I was funny, and I said, funny how, little girl? Funny how?
No. I amuse you. No.
Yeah.
Let her speak for herself.
What is daddy, a clown? Is daddy a clown? Dance for daddy.
That'd be so great.
But
And your daughter,
she's like Spider in there. She give me a drink.
give me. and then as you're leaving, she goes, "Now go get your shine box."
Yeah. So it was Godfather that I showed her when she was like 8 years old. And I told her, these are some good rules to live by, which is, you don't let anybody know what you're thinking outside the family. Always family first and yada, yada. Except the killing part, but that's just American.
Don't cut off a horse's head and put it in someone's bed.
Yeah.
But in general.
Yeah, that's American movies. That's just like normal. So now that she's 18, I'm like, hey, so some people feel that Goodfellas is actually a better mob movie than Godfather. So I told her, so here, let's watch Goodfellas, and you decide. She actually, I think, she can relate to the times better, where Godfather was like what, the 50s or something, or the 60s.
Godfather. Well, it really started in the 40s and 50s. It was the late 40s and 50s, and then it went all the way into the 60s and even 70s. The different Goodfellas. Now, Godfather's based on Mario Puzo's book, so it's drawing from actual events and actual people, but it's not a true story. Goodfellas is based on Henry Hill's book. So the Ray Liotta's character is a real guy that then turned state's witness and wrote this book.
Right.
So that's why it's like it's real people.
Mm-hmm.
So
when she saw the Paulie character, she liked that character. It kind of, my dad is along that lines. They don't say much, but when they say something, it's serious, and you better move your ass, make it happen. Like my dad, the way he raised me, like as I got older, he wouldn't like ask questions. He would just say, "What happened?" And I'm like, "What happened to what?" He said, "What happened?" And I'm just like trying to like, holy, what happened? I don't know. And just losing my shit. And he's like, "They called me today." I'm like, "Who called you?" And it's like, and then he was just having me panicking. And next thing I'm confessing like
crimes you did, stuff you did.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I did take the car. I didn't put gas. I'm sorry. It's like everything. And it's like, but he very calm. The hair was always neat, and that was my dad. And so,
was he also a guy who, when he was mad and quiet, it was scarier than when he was yelling?
Yeah. So when he yelled, and when I think almost all Samoan parents have that, where if they're yelling at you, it's frightening. But when they stop talking to you, and then you're like, they start panicking, like, well, why aren't you talking to? What's going on? And you're even more scared because like something's gonna happen. I'm gonna go for a ride, and it's over for me. It's like,
you grew up in a mob family without really knowing it.
Yeah. Well, also the funny part is the wedding, where everybody had lined up to give him cash. That's Samoans. Yeah. Everything is cash. And nobody brings a gift. If you bring a gift, that's because the Samoan person married somebody who's not Samoan, and that person, no, we got to get him a gift. It's like, no, we just do envelopes. It's like, I don't know.
Wow, you guys are like an Italian family.
And it's always a hierarchy. So even though I'm 47, my sisters, I'm the youngest still. There is some boundaries. Like if they tell me that I have to do, and even when I saw it with my dad in his 60s, his older brother was scolding him. I've never seen anybody talk to my dad that way, and he just had to take it. And I was standing there like, what's happening? And that's always so. Even with the levels of let's say the family tree, let's say my dad's level, and then I have cousins who are closer to my dad's age, but are in my level. So if they were to, tell me out of respect because of their age, I would go do what they told me to do. But if it came down to some family business, they can't push me around because we're on the same branch of the tree. And my dad, even though my cousin could be older than my dad will still be a level higher. So I've seen families get into fights over this stuff. So
wow.
Yeah. So that's how I thought man, I apologize. This is the second time. And guess who it is?
Is it your older sister?
No, it's my daughter.
Oh,
It's the second time that she's interrupted my podcast. It's like she knows. This is funny. It's like when I leave the house, it's like I tell her I'm going to go podcast. And she says, what time? Because the last time my phone rang. So, man, she's making me look unprofessional. So anyways, I got to go scold her. Take her for a ride. And you won't see her for a few months because she's off to school. But yeah, so rest in peace, Paulie. The one thing that he did create that I thought was amazing was Mia Sorvino.
Yeah, she was a really good actress who actually, had to deal with some. I think she got blackballed because she wouldn't sleep with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that she was one of the Me Too.
Yeah. Which I'm amazed. Paul Sorvino. I know he's just an actor, but who he is and how he grew up, he had to know some mobbed up guys. I'm surprised he didn't go, hey man, this guy's messing with my daughter. I'm amazed that didn't happen, quite honestly. I mean, I'm glad he's I'm glad Harvey Weinstein's in jail and everything. But yeah, Paul Sorvino. And I was also watching today The Firm. He's in the very small scene towards the end of the movie. The Firm's a very good movie, but Goodfellas is the Paul Sorvino movie. He's been in a lot of great films, but that movie. And because the voiceover of Henry Hill going, when Paulie came, he didn't move for nobody. And he'd just come out there and look at all the guys goofing around on the stoop. And he wouldn't say a word. And he'd go back in and they'd all get scared.
But he had that look. It must have been somebody who knew who was in charge of things and would, like a boss of something somewhere, like you're saying, where he has a background or something, and because he looked around and everybody's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, you can, and just in the context of that film, since it's a mob film, and that was like, in the 50s or in the 60s or whatever, you knew just the way. And this is why Paul Sorvino's a very good actor. He came on that stoop and he gave a look, and everyone was scared that you went, oh, he's killed people before. Like they all knew, like, oh, he killed people in front of somebody. Like he beat someone while guys watched. Like that's what you're just like, okay, all right, cool, man.
It's funny too because I think a couple of days ago, and all of a sudden you have inside jokes, from this movie that I have with my daughter now, and I was making a reference to something, and I said, oh, yeah, Tommy, whatever. And then she goes, what? Who? I was like, Tommy. She said, no, that's not Tommy. That's, shoot, I'm mixing it. So Tommy is Robert De Niro's character. Or is that?
No, blanking on the names. No, he was Jimmy.
Jimmy. See, again, I did it again. Tommy is Joe Pesci. So then she was like, no, you're talking about Jimmy. And I was like, wait a minute, who am I talking about? And I was like, man, she just corrected. So she absorbed the movie. And if, some things happen in Wyoming when she gets back up there, oh, well.
She's going to start extorting local businesses. Like
she starts running trucks out of the airport and just like, oh, yeah, we got all these Dolce & Gabbana bags that you know a guy that I can move this with? It's funny because now she's watching Donnie Brasco. So.
Another true story.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So then she's starting to hear that because all the other movies you don't hear. Forget about it.
Yeah, Donnie Brasco and Goodfellas are based on actual. Donnie Brasco was an actual guy.
Pistone.
Joey Pistone that went undercover.
Yeah. So
again, these are real characters, and Al Pacino is so good in Donnie Brasco.
Forget about it.
So Fugazi, you're like, oh man, that's.
Too bad he had cancer of the prick. That's only when he started saying that. So when I first watched the movie, cancer of the prick didn't really stand out. But then watching it with my 18-year-old daughter, I'm like, cancer of the prick. I'm like, the hell is? Now it stands out a lot more. It's like, Yeah, so there's like hey honey, there's the birds and the bees, and then the bees get old, they get cancer of the prick. Forget about it. So.
All right, what else are we talking about?
All right, so we got the Aloha crime beat.
Aloha crime beat.
Okay, a lot of crime happening in Hawaii, as they call it.
Yeah.
We won't go through all of them because
We
it's
don't have that much time.
a whole nother podcast. But well, yesterday or 2 days ago, I think it was yesterday. So a woman who was there's a seal. Monk seals are protected here in Hawaii.
Mhm.
You know, when especially ones that because they're endangered. Mothers will come onto the beach and give birth. So they will barricade a section of the beach, and all the locals know.
The monk seals will just come on the beach to rest.
Yeah,
And the minute that happens, they put like a barricade, and you're not allowed to touch them.
yeah.
You're
The
not-
same thing with the turtles, but the monk seal more so because they're more scarce.
They're the monk seals. Yeah, they are an endangered species, but the turtles, you're not allowed to touch them, and tourists really need to understand this.
Yeah.
When you come here and you see them, you can take pictures from 10 feet away, but you can't touch them. And when you do that, it's a fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to jail. You can and then the locals, you're disrespecting the culture and the land.
Because Hawaiian culture, Aina, the land and the creatures are all living beings that should be respected. And that's where I think I talked about it in FNX, where Polynesia and the indigenous people of America kind of, what do you call them, relate, where the land is alive, respect, living creatures. Because even when you go hunting, you respect the animal that you slayed, and you're gonna eat, and
you use all of the animal
clothing, whatever's. But so a lot of the tourists, when they come down, when they step on these things, it's very personal for the local, the natives of Hawaii. So please don't. I think what should happen is we have signs or posters up that don't touch turtles, don't take pictures with the seal, but go ahead and try to touch a shark.
Yeah, go. You can do shark petting.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, and I think I was told they used to do this years ago. And what I think the state should implement is every incoming flight, because really the only real way people get here is on airplanes.
Right.
They should show a little 5-minute video. Welcome to Hawaii. Respect the Aina. Don't touch this. Pick up after yourself. Don't touch these animals, and explain what the Aina means.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of Hawaiian words, it has multiple meaning. It doesn't just mean land, like physical. It means like the land is alive, like you've explained it to me. And so when people say respect the Aina, they're really saying like respect, as I understand it, respect all of nature and work in concert with the land rather than. It's why some of these big resorts and they want to build a big thing, and it's like
they want to have a beach for themselves, which is illegal. And I know in Puerto Rico they're fighting over that as well. I remember there was a University of Hawaii offensive line coach that got hired a couple years ago. He's not here anymore. And me being an offensive line coach at IA High School, I'm checking it out, saying, oh, okay. So I followed him on Instagram, and then I saw Insta story that they were posting where they're hitting golf balls into the ocean. So I immediately DM'd him. It's like, hey, I don't know where you came from or whatever, but just so you know that's serious in Hawaii, because you could harm a reef. You could harm, not only polluting the ocean, but you could harm, a whale or, one of the endangered animals. And the locals are going to really hate you for this. So, do what you do. I'm not telling him, hey, don't, I wasn't coming at him like a Karen, but it's like, be careful. So he deleted that post immediately. He thanked me for it. And
people don't realize it. And it's important. And I wish the whole world, and especially the mainland would respect the land the way it's respected here. It's important. As a guy that's an environmentalist, that as seeing how we're facing, I talk about climate change almost every week on my show. And I really wish people would respect it in the way that it's respected here, because this part of Aloha Crime Beat, the first story. So the seals were She
It was mother and child.
had given birth in
Yeah.
like this bay, right?
Yeah. And a woman, and there's signs telling people
Don't
stay
go in
away.
there. Don't go in there.
And this California woman swims across.
California white lady. Let's be clear here.
Yeah, the whole time she was swimming, she was complaining, like, oh, this water's salty.
Yeah.
I need to speak to the ocean's manager. But was going and got close to the baby seal. I don't think she was trying to go to them, but I don't think she was aware that she was coming into their territory.
This is what drives me nuts. This is not, and I think this is, and I saw this when I lived at the beach in California,
Mhm.
and the seals and tourists would come out with photos. I go, and I remember the lifeguard going, guys, this is a wild animal.
Yeah.
This is a wild animal.
Yeah.
And when you go near any wild animal's
Child.
you go near a domesticated dog's puppy, they're going to come at you.
Yeah.
And you're in the ocean.
Yeah.
This ain't Sea Life Park. This ain't Sea World. This is not a Disney exhibit.
It's not even the street, because I'm pretty sure you can outrun a seal, but in the ocean, I think they win.
I think you're kind of playing a road game.
Yeah. Like, they don't have the legs to run on the road, but that whole blubber movement thing, they got that down.
They're
So
pretty good in the water, as it turns out.
So she was attacked. People went out and rescued her. And some of the questions I put on Instagram, was, what should they do to this person? Like, should she get arrested? Should she get fined? Most people were saying that she should get arrested.
Yeah, she should at least get a fine.
That's what they were saying, that she should get a fine. Some people were saying they should have some kind of punishment where, so you guys, maybe only the people in Hawaii know these names, but should have to listen to Stephanie Lum talk for 3 hours. She's a local news anchor. Some people find her irritating. Until I'm famous, I'm just going to say, she seems fine to me. But she, most people said that they should have got fined. However, today came out, they're not fining the woman, or she will see no jail time. And I think it's hard to say that she went to swim to them, because she looked like she was actually just swimming. But she came across where the area that was supposed to be closed off.
So she was swimming outside of the closed off area and came into it unknowingly?
That's what they're saying.
Okay, I'll say this. If that is in fact true,
Mm-hmm.
and because she was dressed like like she swims triathlons,
Yeah.
right? So she was in a full bodysuit, which is
Mhm.
like, I've seen those people out in the ocean, and they're hardcore swimmers. They swim for an hour. I mean, they
Right.
swim, they love ocean open swimming. So if that is in fact true,
If
if
because Waikiki is not that place.
this is in Waikiki, right? Waikiki is all tourists.
Yeah.
And a handful of local surfers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of locals that are out there surfing, but it is probably 5 to 1 tourists to locals.
Mhm.
So if that is true, okay, she didn't realize, if that's true. If at any point she saw the signs or was told don't go in there and she went, oh, I'll be fine. If she did that, then crack that Karen, give her a fine, give her a little jail time, and let her think twice about the rules don't apply to me because I'm a white lady from California. Like, if any of that stuff pops off.
So for you, it's a 1%.
Yeah.
And Karen.
And Karen. I lived in Santa Monica, California, which I love. And there's a lot of great things about Los Angeles in general.
Mm-hmm.
But man, does LA and Santa Monica have a plethora of rich white ladies with a scathing sense of entitlement and so much privilege. And in some ways more privilege than men. They have way more privilege. I mean, there's all these videos you can find of just white ladies in general, of dash cam videos or cop videos
Mm-hmm.
of them like in the cop's face, and he's just like, okay, ma'am. And
Yeah.
in the comment section is all these people going, if she was black, she would have got her ass whooped or shot. So they push that a lot,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they take advantage of that, and their sense of entitlement is unbelievable.
Not to defend them, but I remember a time before I got into stand-up comedy, when that person was praised, the joke was always, you need a white female friend to go and complain to the manager. And now we got out of control. We let too many of them complain.
Too much.
We got to dial it back. But I think what we should do is find a way to, use their power to our benefit. Would that be?
The problem is like the issue is there's no why it's become such a big issue. And everybody's got a phone with a camera on it now. But there's no consequences. So they can go out and yell and scream and do all this stuff, and there's no consequences at all. And that was the main complaint, mainly by people of color. Like, wait a minute.
Well, that's why we said, send Karen.
Yeah, send Karen.
Karen.
Right. So,
I only got 9 chicken nuggets in my 10 chicken nugget meal. Go get them, Karen.
Sure. And in that context, okay, but then it's like most things in America, it's gotten completely out of control.
Yes. Seems to be something America's good at, just too much.
I mean, name one other example where America's out of control.
Well, a woman, it's the first time I'm hearing that a woman was shooting up someplace. Dallas Love Airport. Woman comes out of the bathroom wielding a gun and shooting in the ceiling. And I'm trying, and the police shot her. She's still alive. I'm thinking, like, what happened in that bathroom?
Well, that's white privilege right there, probably.
Bathroom?
No, that they shot her and she's alive.
Yeah.
They didn't shoot her 60 times. Like this happened recently. They went, just wing her. And she went down. They were like,
just take a strategic shot that we were trained to take.
Yes.
Not against those other people, but just Karen.
If a black dude came out shooting in the sky, they would have just been like, boom, boom, boom. They would have unloaded their clips into him.
They would have stood in line to go, okay, I'm next. Yeah,
they would have unloaded.
My turn.
Clip.
I need a clip.
I'm out.
He's still moving. He's moving from the bullets that are hitting him. So
bullets.
Yeah. So I'm like, what did she do? And what was in the bathroom that made her go, you know what? I'm shooting up this airport.
She shot in the ceiling.
Yeah. She came out like Yosemite Sam. She said, okay, you varmints and rootin' and tootin'. She said,
people in the airport varmints. I hope there's a video of that. You varmints.
Because there's not enough paper in the bathroom? Or something. She wouldn't spare a square. How dare she? Going back to Hawaii, Aloha crime beat, 7-Eleven.
Right in Waikiki.
Waikiki. A fight broke out. Things happen.
This is the most Waikiki story. This is some crazy shit. Like, it feels like Waikiki has the craziest shit.
Well, you get the locals. They come into Waikiki, party or whatever's, meet. I got family that's passing through, so I'm going to go visit them tomorrow. Right. But you do eventually go to Waikiki, but then you got also almost all the tourists that are on the island there. And then that's where the mixing happens, and then the culture. And then it's like, who you? What you let go? Which is like you want to fight or something. But so a fight happens at 7-Eleven in a 7-Eleven parking lot, and then it dispersed, and there was a hand left that got cut off, and the reports are saying from a samurai sword. Like, who's going around? Like, man, remember last week when I got beat up? I'm going to carry a sword from now on.
Well, I own a katana, but I don't. You
don't have it with you. Why not?
I don't walk around with it.
Just like, how did he go? Was it like dramatic? Did he pull it?
Did he just do that thing where he just like?
And he just. And it was over, just like that.
Well, I'm telling you, there's a move. I've studied Iai-Jitsu, and there is a move specifically designed.
Cut off a hand?
Yeah.
That means this is a real person like that trained.
Because I'll tell you, here's the move.
Because nobody's been arrested. So he ninja'd out of there.
This is samurai in Waikiki, baby. That's
gotta
what
go find
I love. I'm loving this.
You better find her.
So
Man.
here's the move. So let's say we're both swordsmen, right? And you have a sword. So do that move where you raise up like that, like you're going to come. So raise your sword up like that. There's a move where I draw and I cut across like that.
Oh, because
I'm going like that.
And
so your wrists,
my wrists leave
you. And the katana, if it's the reason I mean that's why it's a well-maintained katana is the sharpest. If it was made in, and there's a lot of Japanese here, there's probably real katanas.
I'm sure
on this island. So
I go like this, I come down like this.
Yeah, you just go like that in your wrist.
It's like, oh no, I can never scratch my nose.
You're just running around with stumps going,
I can't even kill myself.
Yeah, you go, sing, and then I would go there.
Ooh.
There's a bunch of moves like that.
So somebody said, one's enough. But
so maybe somebody raised a hand or had a knife or a fist and like.
So if you're coming, your sword's on that side, I'm doing that left hook, and then.
Yeah. Anything. Man. If you're throwing anything at me, if I'm here, if I'm a trained samurai, and I got my hand on my blade here, and it depends on the style. So yeah, jitsu is a drawing. The first you don't like draw and then wait. The draw is.
It's not like Vikings. Yeah.
It's like it was a very economy of movement style. So there's other samurai styles, but this one was like So they were like, you move at me in any way, I've got you in a bunch of.
So that's the one where you go boom and it's back almost like you come back and put it away.
Well, not necessarily, but you're drawing and striking at the same time. You don't draw it and then strike.
Just everything's from here.
Everything's from here. So if you come at me with any sort of fist or knife in your hand, I'm going to deal with it. So you're not. And if you don't have a blade, you don't have a katana. I have a 30-inch advantage.
Oh, right, because your arm and this.
I mean, the blade itself is usually 30 inches. So you're talking about with my arm, you're talking about 3 to 4 feet of range. So if you're coming at me in any sort of aggressive manner,
and that's why the American goes.
Yeah, that's why the American goes. Yeah. I don't want to think and have to train. I just want to.
Yeah. Let me just throw these little metal pieces at you, really, really fast.
Because everyone that came to Japan was like, oh man, any of the swords like in Japan or in mainland China, they were getting worked because the samurai were amazing warriors, and so they were like, well, they brought cannons and guns there in the 1800s,
and that's when they killed Tom Cruise.
That's what I was taught. Yeah, it's all in this Last Samurai.
Yeah, Wurlitzer.
Yeah,
killed Tom Cruise's.
Someone in the chat rows, they probably made fun of the guy for having a sword, and he went, "Okay."
That's what I was thinking because Comic-Con is going on in San Diego. Maybe somebody was cosplaying, and somebody hey nerd, look at you dressed up like whatever anime, whatever's, and they went to push, and then the kid said, "Shine."
And then just wiped off his.
But rumors going around online saying that it was an employee that had the sword. Yeah, so 7-Eleven is hiring samurais.
I want to go where this. If there's an old Japanese man working at the 7-Eleven, then we know what's up for certain.
Or maybe it's somebody that was like a grandson. So it was passed down from grandpa. But grandpa was like, no. Don't do this outside. This is just training for inner peace. And he said, man, I know how to slice arms off. I'm going out there. And somebody asked for extra straw, and he got pissed off and said, what? You know what's happening to these turtles and seals with these plastic straws?
That's what made him mad.
Yeah.
Extra straw.
Yeah.
Oh,
you never know what set people off nowadays, man. That extra straw. You got to fight for that stuff. Yeah. But that's great. So if you look online, if you can even search it, you just see a hand on the parking lot just in there. But the thing that surprised me, it wasn't a lot of blood. I would expect like Kill Bill, just, but it was just a hand that was there.
That's a clean cut.
Yeah. Maybe it was a person who had like bad, maybe it was a crackhead or something, and so maybe bad circulation. I don't know, dehydrated. The country is on fire.
So yeah, look for a one-handed crackhead running around Waikiki. So
you got some rocks. Hey man, you got some rocks.
I love the idea because Japan is slowly starting to open up, which means there's going to be more Japanese tourists here, which is a big for those of you who know that the Japanese tourism is a big part of the tourism, and this island had been missing it because they typically come longer, they spend more money.
Yeah.
The Japanese tourists are super respectful and polite. They clean up after themselves. They're not like, yeah, I'm on vacation. I'm
Rage.
You know, like I'm gonna go swim in a seal. And then
I'm cutting some hands.
But I love the notion that there's like some Japanese man came here who's trained in it, and somebody was messing with him, and he was just like, I'm sorry to offend you. Maybe we should talk in the parking lot. Okay, old man. And he just, that's what I'm hoping. Some like old Japanese samurai just.
I just want to see the friends scatter. Like he comes and because he's got, strength in numbers. He got all this confidence. I got all my boys with me. I'm picking on this old man. And well, Asians are getting picked on across the country. So, hey, if that's what happened, and he said, slice.
I love that. I love that scenario. If they like picking on him, there was some Asian crime, like, get out of here, man. You caused COVID. And he just went, Ving! And took their hand off. I love that. I hope that's what happened. Like,
and he's just looking at his stump like, I should just shut my mouth. I knew it. I should have just got my Slurpee with one straw and leave.
I should have left.
Oh, man. Okay, so here's a segment that I wanted to start. And we use our creativity. So I just pulled headlines only. And I want to see if you can, I guess, draw out what actually happened. Okay. So here's the headlines, because you're one of the jokes in your set. You mentioned headlines, so that's why I thought of it. I was like, oh, he likes playing with these headlines. Let's go. These are like headlines that's full sentences. All right. So the first one is chess playing robot breaks 7-year-old boy's finger during match in Russia. So I know you was thinking Florida. I know you was like, oh man, that has Tampa written all over it.
Wait, it's not Florida because I don't think they're smart enough to play chess.
Oh, maybe it's like if I said checkers. So let me read that again. Chess playing robot breaks 7-year-old boy's finger during match in Russia. So what do you think happened there? I mean, I didn't even read the
I don't know. Chess playing robot went nuts.
Was the kid Ukrainian?
Yeah, was it that? Was it some beef like that?
And he said, I just want this part of your country.
Or is this the first, like, oh, the robots are starting to attack us? This is the first, like,
Terminator,
Skynet. This is a Skynet robot.
Oh, so Russia is the one that kills all the humans.
Could be. I mean, this is the thing that, when Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan several years ago, was like, when he started talking about AIs, he was like, oh, he really, like, he'd seen some crazy stuff happen, and that's what he was worried about.
Well, I think that's why I never made it to the NFL. I got the career-ending injury because if I had gotten to the NFL, I would have made some money. I think if I had a lot of money, I would make some crazy things. Elon is crazy.
Yes, he's crazy.
I don't know why people are celebrating. He's like, you have a lot of money. You have a lot. It's like, oh, okay. He shouldn't have a lot of money because he can do some crazy. So he probably has robots having sex and can almost reproduce other robots.
Yeah, something. I'm sure he's created some weird thing like that. He's not in his mind.
So like in this case, robots only do what they're programmed. Did this robot just like when the kid said check? The robot said, fuck that. Yeah. He said, look here, little boy. Snap.
Oh, check that, son.
Yeah. He said, oops, I got your rook right here. Robot takes rook. Snap. All right, so here's the last one. Okay, this is in Colorado, so that's like the Rocky Mountains version of Florida. I don't know, Utah kind of up there though. So, man who was charged in the death of his wife pleads guilty to casting her ballot for Trump.
Wait, what?
So much going on in there.
What is happening there?
So a man who was charged in the death of his wife pleads guilty to casting her ballot for Trump.
Oh, so he killed her and then voted on her behalf?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, does that go together, or was he already? Like, was he killed her already, and he said, "Hey, since she's gone,
I get to vote twice."
Yeah, one more vote for the Red Caps."
Or
she was like, "I'm voting for Biden,"
and that's why he killed her. And then he said, "Not anymore. Now I'm gonna vote."
I don't think so. Shing. And then because he's not a samurai, he had to go shing, and then he held it like this, and then snap, snap, snap.
And then you vote by mail, so that came in after she was dead, and he was like, "Well, I might as well fill this out just to score one for the good team or whatever."
Okay, so let me just say, God rest her soul, we're not making fun of her death and stuff, but like, so he's like, he kills her, and then he goes like, whatever. If he's like, took a long time to kill her, he's all sweaty tired, and he sits down, and then he looks down at the coffee table and sees the ballots there. He goes, and he says, "Let me fill this out before I bury the body, or before I turn myself in." What was the pressure in the interrogation room where he goes, "Yes, I did it. I also sent in a ballot under her name."
Like, what? How did that tie into the like? Is it one of those things like? Did they bring him in and do that thing like your dad did? Like the detective is like, "Well, we know you did it," and he goes,
"So what happened?
What happened? What happened?"
"I don't know. It was just too much. She was gonna vote for that old guy, and I had to save my people.
So I voted. I took her ballot for Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I killed her."
No, I killed her first. Then make sure you put that down. I killed her first
because she wasn't.
I'll get more street cred in Sing Sing. Well, he's not going to Sing Sing. He's going to Colorado jail. I don't know what they put him at the mountains or something. So, with the ibex. Is it ibex? Yeah, the goats.
Yeah,
they lock you up with the goats. So yeah, I mean, you see, the kid just didn't wait and got his finger grabbed by accident.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened.
So the robot was like, "It's my freaking turn."
And the kid was like, "I want to go," and the robot just snapped it.
He is 7. The robot's like, "Danger, danger, danger. Will Robinson cheat, snap." Oh man. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you all. So it's we're gonna do this next Monday. We won't be able to do it because I'm traveling. So if you're in this week, Portland, Thursday, July 28th with Ron Placone, and Ron and I are in Seattle the 29th of July this week, which is Friday, and then Saturday we are in Vancouver, Canada. Tickets are at grahamelwood.com. So check that out.
Get your tickets, and you can see Ron Placone in the comedy club, not out on the beach.
Yes, not on the beach.
Where he usually is.
It all goes easier from a guy on the beach, which is
Yeah.
a cool thing. So thank you all. Thanks for letting us. This is our 3rd episode of Comedy Island with James Mane.
That's other ways, Grandma. Alphabetically, too. I know that I said age the other day, but alphabetically it makes sense, right?
All right, I'm with Graham Elwood and James Mane. And thank you, Backyard Politics, for, I guess you were kind of moderating. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook, and rockfit.com.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good week. We'll see you in 2 weeks.